Let me stop
And
moaning.
we are live from an undisclosed location, 90 stories deep inside the earth, inside of an old Cold War missile silo, and somewhere in Arizona right now. What's going on, Lou Rock?
What is up, man?
Oh, look at that rookie mistake. I didn't mute the YouTube feed. This Hangouts on Air is live. Hangouts on Air is going away later this year. For quick streaming, try youtube.com/webcam. All righty then.
There, Oh, Heather's on things in the chat. What's up, Heather?
Hey, Heather.
Pinkies up. Oh, that's the
See, who else we got in there? We got Deborah the Fam, Diary of Her Mind, Heather's Hauntings, Jenna Randolph, Carol Davis, Out of the Comfort Zone, Alyssa Parrish, Rock Fam. Your wife is in the house, Lou Rock. Aniki Jack, Colorado Explorers, West Haven, Always and Forever, Lady Swan, Easily Distracted, Kayoko Rock Fams.
I am not.
You are not what?
Easily distracted.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Okay. It's a conspiracy.
They got to our loved ones, man.
I'm telling you. They tried to take out Lou Rock. They brought him turkey. Got him all hopped up on tryptophan, so he falls asleep halfway through the broadcast tonight.
Yep. They're trying to take me out.
They got to Mama Rock.
Mama Rock probably volunteered.
Tammy Burgess Rock Fam. Hello. Hope you're doing well. BR Fam TV. Joey. Smash that like button. Frank's. Oh, yes. Frank's in there. What's up, Frank? My brother from California. He's actually one of the founders of the original Ghost Mafia paranormal group here in the Ohio Valley. So, yeah, he's one of the originators of the Ghost Mafia right there, Frank Mantu.
It's now Ghost Mafia.
Ghost Mafia. Ghost Mafia.
That guy, Ghost Mafia.
So we are here doing our little show that we've kind of. Actually, we didn't even set out to start a show. It just kind of, we started talking about conspiracy theories. And I said, well, let's do a stream on it. And the last time that we did the stream, it went over so well. And everybody's like, you got to do this every week. So here we are. And
every time we get into a conversation about conspiracies, if it's in a live stream, that live stream turns into a conspiracy theory live stream for like the next hour or two. Anyway,
it's true.
So what you got for us, Ghost?
You know what? And here's one of the things that I've been researching here lately. And I just got my internet turned back on. Like, I got the 5G internet. I got the broadband 5G internet, best I could get in my area. Okay. And I start researching like the routers and all this stuff. And I find out that these ISPs, these internet service providers, what they're doing is they're pushing their equipment onto you. And what I mean is they want you to spend the $100 for their modem router combo that has the 5G technology in it. And you're supposed to have the highest speed, 300 bits per second, all this other BS, right? What they don't tell you is that it's a dual band router and it does like the 2.5G and the 5G. And the speed is actually split between those two frequencies. So you're not getting the full 300 unless you're connected to both at the same time. And the only way to do that is to buy another device. Now, they sell them online through Amazon for like $30-some. They have them on Wish for as little as 10. But it's actually it's a Wi-Fi extender device that you can plug in via Ethernet cable to your modem, and it will actually transmit both together. So through that, you will be able to connect to both the 2.5G and the 5G at the same time and double your internet speed.
Double the dog ham.
Double your internet speed. Because right now, what they do is they'll split the speed between the two channels, and then once you get used to it, in order to entice you to upgrade to the next highest speed possible, they'll start throttling you back, especially towards the end of the month. Even if you have unlimited data, they'll still throttle you back and try to get you to upgrade. Once you call in to complain, hey, how come my internet's so slow, blah, 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 what's going on, they'll try to sell you on that next tier up. So that's like what I've been finding out here lately. So I'm going to order the device through Wish. It's like $10 or $12. I'm going to order the thing. When it comes in, I'm going to do a review on it. I'm going to test the speed on my internet, on the computer before, and then I'm going to hook it up, connect to it, and test it again and see whether or not it actually works and do a review on it. So,
well, Heather says you're coming in nice and clear right now.
oh yeah, I mean, I'm a lot better off than what I was before. I was literally using my iPhone as a Wi-Fi hotspot, so I was at the mercy of 4G LTE data.
You know what? I am surprised that you came in so well for so long off of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was able to do what I wanted to do on the computer. I mean, I was literally connecting the computer to the phone and using the phone's data as
I bet your data
Wi-Fi.
was like at such a high number. It was unbelievable.
Like 700 gigs a month I was using.
Yep.
Luckily, I had unlimited data, but they did throttle me back a few times.
Here, for my plan, they take you, they throttle you back at about, I think it's 24 gigs. It's not that much at all.
Hey, Serenity.
But I don't get how they sell you multiple programs that are all unlimited, but they're limited. Like,
right.
That should be against the law.
Yeah. In fact, Verizon has 3 different tiers of unlimited data. How does that make any sense?
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It doesn't add up.
And I know this for a fact because I went to Verizon just the other day and was actually talking to them about it. This is before I went ahead and got the Wi-Fi or the internet turned on here. I was going to do like a Wi-Fi hotspot device to free up my phone, and I couldn't do that. And then I tried to upgrade the phone. They're like, oh, well, there's 3 different tiers of unlimited data, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? How? That don't make any sense. If it's unlimited data, it's unlimited.
Serenity Pointer pointed out it's I don't even know how to speak today. Patty just hit 300K.
Yes.
Congratulations to the
She hit it earlier today. I was in her stream.
You rock.
Yes,
we checked that. Me and Ghost were up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, she's got 9 more to go.
Yeah, we were dropping her links in there and then trying to push it. We were trying to get her there last night.
Yeah.
And we was within, like when we ended the stream, what did she need? Like 19 more or something like that?
No, 9.
9.
She was 9 away.
Yeah, she was 9 away when we ended the stream last night.
She went from 60 away to 9 away within like an hour. It was really cool.
Yeah. Congratulations, Patty and the G team for hitting that 300K. That is awesome.
Next stop, a Millie.
A Millie, yep.
A Millie here, a Millie there.
I keep watching for Ashley come up there. Wasn't it Ashley that was going to talk to her mom who works at the post office about the dots on the mailboxes?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I'm curious about that. I'm hoping we can get her up on the panel with us to tell more about that. See what she found out.
I actually know somebody who works at the post office too myself. So if why
don't you refresh everybody about that story we told last week, so that if there's anybody new in here that hasn't heard about the dots on the mailboxes.
All right, so the dots on the mailboxes, this was something that I actually went out and tested myself. And I seen this, video on YouTube about these little round dots about yay big on mailboxes. And I'm like, this can't be true. I go out, I check my mailbox. My mailbox has the dot. And I walk around my whole neighborhood. I just take a complete walk around the block. And I noticed that like a good 80 to 90% of the homes had these little colored dots on their mailbox, red, blue, green, or yellow. And the story goes that that's how they're going to tell who's going to fight them or who's going to cooperate with them when martial law takes over, when the government comes in and tries to, control pretty much
Everything.
everybody. Yeah. And the thing is where I was located there, I was located literally 50 feet away from a Walmart. Walmart was my front yard.
Wow.
But yeah,
Seren-
take a walk around your neighborhood, see if you see these dots, and let us know.
Serenity says she asked her mailman, and the mailman said it's true.
Oh yeah, I told you. I asked the mailman myself, and he like admitted that the dots were there, but when I asked him what are they for, he jumped around the question. He's like, "Oh, well, I don't really know," and this and that. How come it's on a mailbox? You're a mailman and you don't know? I thought it would have to do something with the mail, wouldn't it? But yeah, just crazy. They actually say that if you got a certain color on your mailbox, that means that you're a high threat. So when they do this, takeover.
Now there's something somebody just said. Rasmeen Morgan said I heard it was for newspaper deliveries. Now I have seen that. In our area, newspaper deliveries, the ones that get the newspaper usually have a orange reflective circle.
Yeah, no,
there,
this
so
is
they
a
can
little
be seen.
circle. This is a little circle the size of a quarter, maybe a little bit smaller than a quarter.
Yeah, I know the newspaper. I used to work for the newspaper, so I know that is actually true. If you see like the orange reflective one, it's so that when the newspaper, like when they deliver the newspapers with the cars out here in the rural countryside, they do it at night. It's usually really dark out, and they can see that reflector on the mailbox with the car headlights, and they know that that's one of the places that gets the newspaper. So, but as far as the other colors, I don't know.
Oh wow, I need one of these things.
Warsaw Patriot, would it be okay if I told my conspiracy theory story? Yeah, sure. Let me get your email from you, Warsaw, and we'll get you up here with us. Not a problem, brother. If you can drop that in the chat or send it to me via Facebook or Twitter. So I think I got my Twitter not working now. Let's see. And if there's any conspiracy theories you guys want to touch on or want us to look into, put them in the chat. We'll be glad to check them out. And
yeah, I invite. Oh, so I'm a sleeper cell, huh, Boomer? He says red dot indicates a sleeper cell.
Yeah,
well, I had a red dot on my box. What I heard is the red dots mean that you're not going to go along with their plan, and pretty much that they're just going to take you out right away. It is a pretty crazy conspiracy theory. I mean, there's probably something so simple behind it that we're missing. But yeah, I've seen this for myself. I've seen the different colors on different boxes. I noticed that when I went through a old folks community, 55 and over, not that that's old, but it's a 55 and older community, that most of their stickers were the same, but walking through just a regular neighborhood, the stickers were more likely to be different colors. And yeah, when I first started finding out about this stuff was right around the time that I got some pictures from my father and my biological father who lives in Texas, and he's a truck driver. and he's the one who actually told me about the underground highway that he's driven from Texas all the way to Maine underground. But he sent me a picture of all these tanks being brought into Texas. And what a lot of people think is that these tanks are being brought into the United States for like some kind of martial law takeover. And for one, they're UN tanks, and we shouldn't have UN tanks being shipped into the country. But you made a really good point that they're probably not being shipped in. They're probably being built in Texas and shipped out. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know either way, but still kind of freaks me out. These are tanks with, big giant guns on them, and would not be good if we had tanks rolling around in the streets. It would be worse than that.
Right.
What's that movie where everybody gets that one night to kill everybody?
The Purge.
Yeah, it would be worse than the Purge. Imagine, just tanks rolling up and down the street. What you gonna do to a tank?
Okay, Warsaw, I sent you the invite. Let me know if you got it. I sent it direct from the Hangout here. And I sent you invites in Hangout to a private chat. So if that doesn't work, accept the invite in your Hangouts for the private chat, and I'll drop you the link there.
Jim B. Phoenix says, did you hear that they have tanks in Russian tanks in Mexico somewhere? I wouldn't doubt that, actually.
Yeah, see, now, if Russia was going to invade via, like, Mexico, that'd be like a full-on original Red Dawn type situation.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
But the thing is our Mexican borders, I have family, actually, that lives down there. Our Mexican borders are well guarded. Like, the people that live down there are very armed. Like, big time armed. And
here.
I don't think it would be so easy for them to just, even though it's, a bunch of civilians, there is a lot of people that are very, well armed because they're used to, illegals coming through, and then you got to deal with the drug cartels and this and that. And so, yeah, they're pretty well protected.
Short Fry says, we had killer clowns in our town a few years back trying to kidnap kids.
See, that's crazy too, the killer clown thing, because all they got to do is, start having instances of this, and then it creates like a mania, and then people take advantage of that and then start doing it more. So it just grows and grows and grows exponentially and becomes like a whole, countrywide activity. Yeah, let's go dress up in clown suits and chase people around with, Michael Myers knife. Wow, I look so happy.
It looks like Warsaw Patriot joined the chat, but
I feel like I'm being interrogated here. I need to turn this down a little bit.
Hasn't joined the call yet, so I don't know what's going on there. But
oh no! Dreamwalking Angel
send it through email. Yeah, I think I can. Hold on a second here.
Well, if he did get in and it just didn't let him all the way in, sometimes if you back out and retry, sometimes it lets you in the second time.
Yeah. Let's see.
What were we talking about at the end of last week's?
CERN.
CERN
Yeah. Was the one that he was like, no, we'll talk about that next week because I could talk for hours about CERN. So, I don't know too much about the whole CERN thing. I know it comes in on like the the effects, the butterfly effect, and the carbonara, or not
That's
carbonara,
theory. The butterfly effect stuff is theory. It's theoretical. Now, what CERN is the Large Hadron Collider, and what they're doing is they're pretty much blowing atoms apart at such high speeds that it's like almost like unfathom. I can't even say the word.
unfathomable.
That's the one. But yes, they're they're blowing apart atoms, and what their goal is to achieve is to create something like in Star Trek that used to run their ships, which was called antimatter. They actually have a different name for it. It's kind of, the science is a little different. They've actually already created some of this this element. I'm not sure what you would call it. And they say that just like the smallest amount of this material would run like the entire world's energy for like 10 years. So, but what they're doing is they're doing something that they have no idea what's going to happen as an effect of them doing this. Now, last time we started splitting atoms, we ended up with an atom bomb. So, blowing these atoms apart at, you know, almost the speed of light. I think it actually, that's why it's so big. It's actually underground to keep these things moving so they get up to speed, and then they blow them apart. Well, there's so many conspiracies around CERN. CERN just did it was like a party, and they hired all these dancers to come in and dance, and they had like these people with goat horns and goat feet, and they looked like literally like the devil dancing around, and all these different like performance art dancers that kind of look like, at one point it looked like souls were burning and they're screaming, and like this goat figure is like in the middle of the stage. It's so hard to describe because it's so weird. And if CERN's already looked upon kind of like by the public as like fishy, why would you do something?
See, that sounds like the plot from what was it? Joe Friday, the movie with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. Dragnet, the movie. Remember the pagans were dancing around with the goat hens and leggings and all that stuff? Remember that?
No, well, that's a little bit past my time there, Ghost Mafia. I was probably, 2 years old when that came.
That was back in the 80s. That was back in the day. But yeah.
But just for them to send that message, just like basically almost like we're devil worshippers. But
okay, Warsaw, I sent that to your email. I just got it sent out.
We don't know that the effects of this Large Hadron Collider, like a lot of people say that there's a such thing called the Mandela effect. And what that is time seems to keep changing. Some people will remember Nelson Mandela died back in the early 90s, and then I guess some people just think that he just died a few years ago, and it's people remembering different realities. Now, there's a lot of stuff that is just a mistake. People remembered the information. But there's some of this stuff out there that's very true and very shocking. And so many people, so many millions of people remember a certain something being a different way when they were kids. But we don't know that this Large Hadron Collider isn't creating, rifts inside of our timeline that's actually changing the fabric of our reality. You're almost creating miniature black holes when they're doing what they're doing. Now, black holes pretty much destroy the entire solar system around them by, they suck in all the matter around them. I wouldn't want to make a miniature black hole because
and now this comes in too also, and we were talking about this on a phone call with Boomer Rock last night, the time travel videos that we've been seeing a lot of on YouTube.
Yep.
And if time travel was real, these people that are going back and doing this time travel stuff from the future could be messing things up too.
Yeah, you know what though? I've seen a lot of these guys, just like you said, a lot of their stories really match up a lot.
Oh yeah, I watched like 5 different guys, and every one explained that time travel was invented or discovered in like 2003 and wasn't available to the public till 2028. Now the dates for all 5 matched up. The dates on their stories matched up. Now whether or not they seen another YouTuber and went with the same story just to, create some content or not, who's to say? But if there is a possibility for a chance that something like that is actually happening, who knows?
Now, if time travel was a thing, there would have to be laws in place that make it against the law to actually interfere in past events. Because if not, you're just going to be messing history all up every time you take a trip.
Well, that's kind of my question as to, that's kind of why I don't believe in it, because who wouldn't have went back in time and like shot Hitler in the ass?
Well,
or,
a lot of those guys that you're talking about that have, done these videos with their face blurred out, because I've watched a lot of those. A lot of them explain that time travel, when it was introduced to the public was like a tourist attraction. They would go back and kind of look at time the way it was back in the day, but they wouldn't be able to, interact with.
So kind of like an interdimensional thing, like you're going back, but you're going back into the astro plane, and you're an observer.
Yes.
Nobody can see you, but you can see everything that's going on.
Yes, exactly. And that's the way they explain it.
That would be at least feasible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now,
you're basically walking around in the past as a ghost.
Now, another thing, you just got me onto a whole nother thing. Joe Rogan just did an interview with Bob Lazar's. Now, Bob Lazar's was a astrophysicist who came out in the mid 80s telling you he was breaking a story, actually, that he worked for certain programs, that he actually worked in Area 51, and they asked him to back engineer some craft that he pretty much guessed that it was extraterrestrial. And he even predicted an element that didn't get put onto our periodic table until I think it was like 2014. I might have the date wrong, but he talks about it in 85. Then in 2000 and something, some Russian physicist synthesized this exact element that he's talking about by name, and they add it to our periodic table. Now, he even explains it more.
Okay, my man. Thank you for that $2 super chat, brother. I seen somebody else super chatted me earlier. I was busy trying to. It was West Haven. Okay, thank you, West Haven, for the super chat as well. Sorry, I didn't shout you out earlier. I was trying to get Warsaw up on the panel with us. He's having a little bit of issues with his Hangouts or something, but Go ahead, Lou. Sorry, didn't mean to cut
Oh,
you
you messed me up. But yeah, Bob Lazar's he predicted that element, and then years later in 2000 and something, it actually comes out the same name that he used in 85. He's got science behind it, and he actually explains that what the scientists actually what they actually synthesized is not the actual element that he was talking about in 85. That it was pretty much the same thing, but it was unstable. And what he says is that we have that element stable. Well, the government does, and it's totally different than what these Russian scientists have done with this element. Now, the crazy part about the time travel is what Bob Lazar says in this interview. Now, pretty much 90% of the stuff that he said since 85 has been proven to come true over the years. Now, he tells a story about this machine that he was told to try to back engineer, and he pretty much said it was like a sphere put on to a plate, and the plate is load sensing, and this actually creates its own gravity field, and that if you can control gravity, you can actually travel in time and do these things and actually, teleport from one place to another, because that's how these UFOs that he was back engineering actually work. And he explains on how he's seen multiple different shaped craft that were powered by this sort of technology. And he said he's seen UFO, the classic dish-shaped UFO, and triangles and all these different things. But yeah, man, it really explains a lot. I've seen something that works exactly how he explains this drive to work. Like, I've actually seen a UFO that if there was a human being inside of it, I would think that human being would be soup, because the G forces it would take to go 5,000 miles an hour this way, right angle, just once would turn a human being into soup.
Yeah.
But what Bob Lazar says is that these ships, they create their own gravity. So it has its own gravity. You're not inside the gravity of the Earth, which means that the G-forces are no longer there. You're creating your own G-force.
I actually seen some of Bob Lazar's older interviews and things, and he was talking about a mercury drive system. Yep. And they literally use mercury and gold to power the engine, the thrust, to take out the anti-gravity drive.
Yes,
that's what powers the drive. So I was like, and he had sat down and he sketched it out and showed it kind of how it worked and everything, and it was, his theory was plausible. I mean, okay, so and here's my thinking on why I think it could be actually a true story. Okay, in the early 1970s, they said, oh, we have somebody had invented a car that would run on water. Not like a boat on water, but you could literally put water in the gas tank and it would run on water. Now,
which we can do now.
You can do that now. You can literally run your car on water. And what they're doing is they're using a form of electrolysis in that water to generate hydrogen. And they'll use the hydrogen to run the engine. It burns completely clean, does not give off any emissions. It is, hydrogen is highly volatile, so it's more powerful than regular gasoline. And you can look up videos on YouTube on how to make a hydrogen generator, and you can convert a hydrogen generator to a hybrid motor and double your gas consumption, or cut your gas consumption in half. If you're hooking it up to a diesel, you can triple it. Like literally, that you can do that stuff now. I mean, the technology has been leaked, and you can find it on YouTube.
We can do it. The thing is, if you have a bunch of hydrogen cars driving around, you can make some really big bombs on accident. And say some, backyard mechanics start working on these hydrogen cars and stuff starts blowing up. That's one reason I could see that they would not want to release this technology.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, is it so feasible? I mean, I know people that live off the grid and they will run generators. They have, old military surplus generators that they have converted with this hydrogen generator to run off of pure hydrogen. Now, it does work. I've seen it work with my own eyes. I know that it can be done. They're literally running a generator, a military style power plant that you would pull behind a truck with water. I know it can be done. I've seen it done. I know it is plausible. I've seen the videos on how the theory behind it, everything. I know it can be done.
Well, that's how they say we would, that's how they said that we would be able to colonize Mars, is if they would be able to find some sort of water source, they would be able to use that water source as fuel. And so it's the same theory, same technology that would actually allow us to go to Mars. So, yeah.
Now,
but anyways, this gravity thing.
Here's the thing with the whole hydrogen generator. In order to make the hydrogen, you have to run a 12-volt current into the water with the plates, okay? So you have to have a power source. It's kind of like the perpetual motion machine. It's almost impossible to make a perpetual motion machine because once you start it, it won't stop. It's perpetually generating energy of some sort. So you have to literally kind of you almost have to have a hybrid system, or at least to start the generator. Once the generator started, it'll power the electrolysis, but you have to get it started somehow, whether it be a car battery or whatever. But yeah, literally you have to generate enough power to start the system before it kicks in and goes perpetual.
See, but the thing is, hydrogen is a finite thing that if they go to Mars and there's no water, there's no way, we're screwed. But this gravity drive, just the thought of it, we would be able to get to Mars within minutes if this thing is true. Now, another thing that Bob Lazar's that he predicted is that gravity is actually a wave. And just recently, some really big scientists have agreed that gravity is actually a wave. Now, before they thought that gravity could only be created by mass. So the only reason the Earth has gravity is because it has so much mass. But if we can manipulate gravity, we could pretty much do all these things that we're talking about. This is the technology that we would need to do all the things that we've talked about tonight. And he says we have it. We have it. We've had it. We've had it since the 80s, if not longer. So all this stuff is very plausible. Very plausible.
Okay, Warsaw, I just sent it back to you. I just replied and dropped a link in the reply. You should be able to get into it from there. Okay, let me get back over to the chat here. Let's see. Chris Williams, Bruce, Supernatural Lost Adventures, Warsaw Patriot. Check your email. I sent you an email. Yeah, I replied to your email, Warsaw, and sent you the link. So check your email.
No, you check your
You
email.
check your email.
No,
right?
you check your freaking email.
No, you check your email and then go home and get your shine box.
Yo. Don't be telling people about my second job.
Let's see.
I
And
shot.
we get into the mafia stuff, and we're talking about like JFK assassinations and all that stuff, and getting into something like that. That's one of those ones that can go on for hours. The Jack the Ripper murders, all that stuff. Welcome, Warsaw Patriot.
There we go.
He's got some story. He's got some controversial stuff for us to talk about.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Ghost.
Hey, not a problem, brother. Welcome aboard.
Yes.
What you
Sorry
got
for all the trouble. If you want to talk conspiracy, I mean, I could pick one of them. Well, last year, I bet you heard about what happened in Vegas, with the Vegas shooting.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. The news media is not adding up with any of the details or any the information. They haven't even released any good footage. I mean, they haven't even described any of the bullets that were even used by any of the firearms the guy even was so-called having.
Right.
I mean, here's what I think. I even talked to a guy that was former military, and he and I both agree on this. I think it was an illegal black arms market deal that actually went wrong, and there was some agency that actually popped him. They used the arms that weren't the ones that were in the video or the pictures. They were actually full out of machine guns that they brought them out, and then he brought in the AR-15s with the bump stocks in, and then framed it on that guy.
And I kind of had somewhat of the same theory, but I don't know about the whole arms deal end of it. But I was on top of that when it happened. It was a country music concert. The shooter basically had supposedly made a sniper's nest where he was laying down, shooting out of the window. But if you go back and look at the YouTube videos and you see where the firing is coming from, it's on a lower floor than what he was. He was like, you could see the one sign on the side of the building. He's up on the right-hand side of the sign on a higher floor, and the shooting seems to be coming from like the third floor on the left-hand side of the thing. And I was like, man, something's not right about this. It doesn't look right. Now, my personal theory, and again, this is just theory. This is just my idea of how things are working. It's you have your far right and your far left, and then political office, and everybody has different opinions. But it seems that one of them really wants bump stocks and AR-15s off the market completely, out of the hands of civilians, and off the shelves in the stores and everything. And they will do whatever they need to do to create a public panic that incites action to achieve their agenda.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's a false flag event to instill fear into Americans so that we don't not only give up our guns, but we give up our guns willingly.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a lot of these false flag events that have happened, and after every single one of these false flag events, there's some new kind of legislation on guns in the United States. And that's a scary thing, because you're talking about taking guns out of the hands of Americans, which that pretty much doesn't make us America anymore. That's one of our, we have the right to bear arms because of what happened. What was it, 300 years ago? Or how many years ago was it when the United States started? 1630 something, 1640 something,
No,
300 years something.
1776.
All right, that's when it was signed. But we were, yeah, all right. So I'll take that as an answer.
No, just to add, but if you listen to the actual video, there's 3 different locations, and the fire there's 3 different distinct full auto machine gunfire come from those windows. And I do know that's not bump stocks. I've actually handled full auto machine guns, and
Exactly.
by a civilian standard, you cannot actually own them. You got to go through a serious amount of work and paperwork through the ATF, the federal government. So after you buy a full auto machine gun, it costs about $30,000 to even have that, plus the permit and all the paperwork just to even have it. Not to mention you got to get fingerprinted. So if you think,
Well,
you can get a full auto machine gun, it's not that easy.
Now here's the thing, Warsaw. It can cost you $30,000 if you're going
through the correct channels.
Through the correct channels and that route. But in the United States, you have the right to build anything you want to.
Yes.
I can literally go out and mill out my own uppers and lowers for AR-15 and make it fully automatic. As long as I don't sell it and I'm using it myself, I'm allowed to have it.
Well, as long as you don't install the full auto part, because once you put that into the gun part, you already committed a federal crime.
Yes.
Right. Now you can buy the part, you just can't install it.
I can make basically any gun as long as I have the knowledge and the schematics to do so. And it doesn't have to be serial numbered or anything. I made it. It's a homemade gun, basically. Yeah. And
it's legal.
It is perfectly legal.
If they didn't want people doing it, why the hell do they let you buy the lowers or the upper, whatever one that you could buy? Like, it makes no sense, like, to me. Like,
it's from not just any AR.
What's that?
I mean, it's not just any AR. You can do the same thing about pistols and all that. I mean, look at all the legal arms that people have been making out of foreign countries.
Yep.
But here's the thing. When people are making their own guns like that, and they get good at it, and they're skilled at it, they can turn around and turn that into a business and be successful at it. I mean, how do you think Remington and Winchester and, Ruger and, all those gun companies started out?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a trade, it's a skill, it's an art, because I'm here to tell you, I've seen some beautiful guns made. I mean, Henry firearms, some of them old Henry guns, beautiful guns.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I'm a gun enthusiast. I love guns, and I have friends in the gun industry. I'm a friend with Larry Parker. He's like one of the biggest gun engravers in the United States, and he lives just right out the road from me. I've got a gun that he worked on of mine. And, I mean, he does some beautiful work, old Western Beatan, like scrolling stuff and gun engraving. I mean,
I live in Springfield, Massachusetts, the home of Smith & Wesson. And I'll tell you what, if Smith & Wesson goes out of business, our entire city goes under. Smith & Wesson controls so much of our economy here in Springfield, Massachusetts. In fact, the name of our city before it was Springfield was Armory, Massachusetts. And it was not named that like officially. It was just a place on the map that was called the Armory, and it was in Massachusetts. And
let's see if I can. There you go. There it is. Springfield Arms.
And another thing is, like, we were talking about reasons for 9/11 to have been an inside job, and that's number one right there, is to sell guns to our own people, to get everybody.
That was a crazy day, man. I remember 24 hours later, there was $1 million bounty on Osama bin Laden's head. And there was people willing to get into just a fishing boat and head over to Iraq looking for his ass. I mean, there was people who were like gonna do it. It was so crazy, but it united the United States in such a way that hadn't been done since Pearl Harbor.
Amen to that.
That's what makes me so suspicious of it.
Well, now I had my own theory on that, because that year the Patriots won the Super Bowl. I'm just saying it is a little fishy, you know what I mean? The patriotism, 9/11, everybody's flying flags. All of a sudden, the Patriots won the Super Bowl. And that seemed like it might have been a little fixed. I'm just saying.
Patriots, you might as well call the Super Bowl the Patriot Invitational.
The funny thing is I support them, but any other team out there.
Hey, I'm a Raiders fan, so dirtiest players in the game. But
No, but yeah, just the Vegas shooting itself is just something that's so fishy still.
The Orlando shooting was totally fishy. They said that they had actors, acting like they were hurt during this the gay nightclub shooting there in Orlando. Not saying that didn't happen. I don't want no hate from anybody saying, "Hey, I lost somebody there," because I'm not saying these things don't happen. I just don't believe that.
What about what was it, Baltimore, where the kid walked into a church and shot 9 people, supposedly with a AR-15 or whatnot?
Yeah, then the Texan came in and brought in an AR of himself and stopped him.
Yeah. I like
this. Don't sound
that's an
like
example right there. You stop crazy tyrants and crazy people like that.
See, it don't sound like Americans to me, though. Americans, if they're gonna go bug out and go crazy, they're gonna bug out and go crazy on people that done them wrong. They're gonna go into their job. They're gonna go into, the place that repossessed their home or stuff like that. Why are we going into Vegas?
Well, I mean, and here's the thing. You guys have all heard the term going postal on somebody's ass, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that originated before Sandy Hook, before Columbine. Actually, that originated even before Ruby Ridge. That was in the mid-'80s that happened. There was a post office worker, disgruntled employee, went into his job and started shooting up the place. And that's where that term came from, going postal on someone,
Really?
And that was kind of the one that started it all. But as far as the school shootings, what was it, 68 or 69? Ohio State University, bell tower. 2 students shot high-powered rifle from the tower.
Yeah, but see, all right, that's only 2 students. All right, it's not.
Yeah, but you're talking a sniper situation. He took an elevated position with a high-powered rifle and scope and sniped 2 students. It could have been worse. He could have went in there with an AR or something like that. But back then, the ARs, you couldn't get an AR.
The biggest one that comes to mind is Columbine.
Well, that situation right there, they had arms that were actually stolen from another person's house.
Right, and they weren't AR-15s. They were using shotguns and 9mm and 45s.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, at one time, had the complete case file with all the 911 calls and everything. When I was in the fire department, when that happened, and I was working with FEMA at the time through the Homeland Security. I was taking a lot of trainings and things like that, and they had actually sent out. That's when we was doing like the mock schools and all that stuff for active shooters, and they sent out the case file. And we had to go through everything on the case file, every 911 call, every call from students to 911, the police radio frequency tapes, the whole nine, the video footage from inside the school, unedited. I seen it all. I had the DVD at one time. I couldn't even tell you where it is now, but if you are in a fire department or something, you might be able to get that case file DVD from FEMA.gov, because we were able to get it back then. I don't know if they still have that available now on their website or not. But if you're in a department that's associated with like the Homeland Security stuff, you should be able to get your hands on it some way. Oh my God, Ghost Mafia, to see something like that. Yeah, I'm not.
All this stuff is allegedly.
Well, the Columbine stuff that I seen wasn't allegedly. That was some kids that had gotten bullied. They were outcasts. They were kind of loners, and that.
No, I mean our theories.
Oh, our theory, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that was one of those cases where like a faction of the government stepped in to do something to create an agenda type thing. Okay. I think that was a legit instance, Columbine. Okay.
But it sure gives them a stepping stone into.
Well, I think it gave them the idea. I think that's where the idea of doing that came from, was originally Columbine. They're like, okay, there was such an outpouring over emotion about these kids who went in there with these guns and shot up the school that, maybe we could use this later on to, forward our agenda and get the guns out of the hands of people.
Well, that's what they're kind of doing. I mean, look at Moms Demand Action. You got March for Lives. You got all these groups out there just want to destabilize the nation by saying, "Oh, let's have more gun control." Well, yeah, take away the rights of the people, but also here's the thing: two things. You're also giving away the protection of their own people, and you're also making people get attacked and possibly raped.
Well, you're making it so nobody can defend themselves.
Yeah.
So you're and then it's kind of a double, like a double standard, because there's a lot of these gun activists that when it all goes down, they're still going to have guns in their house.
Well, and here's my biggest argument about the whole gun issue, and then we can move on to something else. But when they make the rules for the guns and all the hoops that you have to jump through and all the fines and all the money that you have to spend to do the right thing to own guns nowadays. Okay, this is it's not inhibiting the bad people. The bad people are going to go out and steal a gun. They ain't going to pay shit for it, okay? They're going to steal it out of somebody's house when they ain't home, or buy it off the street, off a drug dealer or something. They're going to get their hands on the guns, whether the government or the people want them to have it or not. They're not, they're nefarious, okay? So that means they aren't going to play by the rules, where a responsible gun owner is going through the right channels. He's going through, registering the weapon and, going for the classes for the CCW and, doing all the right things and spending all this money. But here's the thing with that is, when you are a responsible gun owner and you have like a CCW, or you're in a state that has open carry, if you walk into a convenience store and say you have a CCW, okay, so that's concealed carry weapons permit, and you're back there, you're in the cooler section, you're getting a pop, and all of a sudden the cashier starts getting robbed at gunpoint. As a CCW owner, you actually have an obligation to step in, whereas an open carry person or constitutional carry person isn't really obligated. They're only doing it for their own protection. But with the CCW, you kind of have a little bit of a responsibility to save that person's life. Now, I'm not saying that the constitutional carry person wouldn't save that person's life or step in, but you're less covered as constitutional carry than you are as if you're CCW, because constitutional carry, you don't have to go through the training, where CCW, you do go through the training, and it covers you by law a little bit more than just constitutional carry does. Am I right on that, Warsaw?
That's correct. So basically, CCW, you just got to go through the channels, whereas constitutional, you don't have to do anything.
Right. And where you have the training with the CCW, you're more obligated to step in and take action. But you have a little bit more coverage by the law being trained.
First it's let's take away these automatic weapons. Then it's, let's take away these high capacity clips for handguns. Then it's let's take away hollow points. Well, then after that, let's just take away bullets in general and no more guns for anybody.
Boomer. Boomer sends me a message. He says, if there's an after party, send me a link. Just can't compete with your intellect on public forum.
Oh, that's the thing too, Lou. I mean, you might as well just ban the Second Amendment, period, but that takes part of the whole Constitution then.
You know, they were going into New York, allegedly going into New York and going into legal gun owners' houses earlier this year and seizing their legal weapons.
Property. Well,
Yeah.
property. It's also property.
Yeah, property, just taking it. That is so against everything that my great grandfather fought for, and anybody else's family who's a veteran. It's a shame because our families have fought and bled and died for these rights that they were told that they were fighting for, and now, in my opinion, they're being stripped away one by one every single day.
Yep.
Really, Ghost Mafia. There's a reason for private messages, okay? Later. I'm done. Oh, Boomer. I thought you was joking around with me. I didn't know you was being serious. You'll be all right. We love you, Boomer.
You know he wanted you to read that.
I know he did.
Come on. Come on.
Well, I mean,
Boomer
back
is the ultimate ball buster of all time. There's not a bigger ball buster on this planet.
I think it's a conspiracy in itself.
Well, we already know they've gotten to Boomer.
Well, yeah, they got to Mama Rock. They tried to take you out, but
Mama Rock volunteered. Mama Rock said, "Me, I'll take him out. Just let me know. I feed him every night. It won't be that hard."
now, you want to hear another conspiracy story?
Yeah. Give us another one. We got time.
You heard of the? Let me look it up again. Basically, there was a Soviet sub that actually was it basically was going to launch a missile right next to Hawaii in between Japan at China, and it was actually going to start a World War III with the United States and China. But here's the thing: there was a captain on the Soviet sub that actually realized it was a KGB and not the direct message from Moscow that saying, "Hey, you can launch a nuke." And in my mindset, I'm thinking, kind of, was he on our side or not? Because he blew up the whole sub in with himself.
I mean, I haven't heard about this. I have no knowledge of this. I'll have to check into that one a little bit more.
Here, let me look it up here for you. 1967, Soviet sub that went almost started World War II. Or World War III. Here, I could copy the link for you.
Yeah, send me that in the Hangout there. I'll check it out later on. Maybe we'll revisit that one on a later episode or something. But
this was really interesting because, a Soviet that was actually kind of on our side, even though he was with the Soviet Union.
Well, we got into a big discussion about the Titanic last night, and the controversy around the Titanic, and we went into all the details. The fire that happened at the front of the ship with one of the boilers before they ever set sail, weakening the plate steel on the side of the ship that actually struck the iceberg, and on and on and on, like all the details that led to the downfall and the sinking of the Titanic. Non-watertight bulkheads, the wrong signal flares being sent. I mean, just everything. We went into all the details last night. It was crazy. But what's up, Ghost Mafia? I have a meeting in the morning. Just saying. Yeah, Dave, the producer. Welcome, producer. Yeah.
How do I know?
I bet he's got some conspiracy theories.
You know what? Since he's got a meeting, he should come up on the panel and tell us about it.
Yeah. You know what? He might be in one of those meetings where they plan out the conspiracies.
Yeah, that's the meeting. That's the message he was just sending. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
That is not allegedly. That's truth.
Yeah. He's secretly in the Illuminati.
Secretly? He flaunts it. He flaunts it. Come on. Secretly.
Oh, man. I've been seeing more and more about this Illuminati stuff. And man, I tell you what, I'm starting to think maybe there's something actually to it. I mean,
our country is run by a reptilian race of aliens that secretly control the government like puppeteers, and this is one of my beliefs. I do believe in the reptilians for sure.
I mean, you got like the CIA that's been questioned so many times. I mean, look what happened with the assassination of Kennedy. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's so many different secret societies. It's
yeah.
we know that
40 years old at the time, so I remember it perfectly.
we know that when the Bushes all went to college, they were all members of Skull and Bones. We know that the founding fathers were all Masons. We all know that, you know, there's so many different ones and so many.
Oh, that Osama bin Laden's brother, I believe brother, his nickname was Little Bush, and he used to live on the Bush compound.
Didn't know that, but I did know that he had a niece that was going to college somewhere around this area.
Yeah, so I mean,
which is crazy when you think about it. No, okay, so you're Osama bin Laden. You have family in the United States. Okay, you have family all over the place. You have nieces and nephews going to college in the United States. Why would you want to start anything? I mean, now,
well, just because your family member does something doesn't mean you necessarily
that's
agree
true. And
what the hell he's doing, because I got some dumbass family members.
Well, here's the thing with that. Okay, so my son, he says, "Why do I have to learn social studies?" I said, "Well, you know, at one time I was just like you, and I was asking that same question. What's 400-year-old Muslim religion have to do with me? Okay, I'm not going to be a Muslim. I'm not going to pray to Allah or, you know, stop eating bacon or anything like that. You know, it's me. I don't need the Muslim religion because I'm, you know, a Christian." And
you just blew a hole into dog ham.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When 9/11 happened, I sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, oh, well, that explains why, you know, I should know what 400-year-old Muslim religion is, because supposedly that's what it was all about.
I just don't think so.
You know what's the crazy thing? We funded these guys. I mean, what was it? The CIA actually funded the what was it? The Mujahideen during the Soviet-Afghan War. We gave them so many weapons.
Oh yeah, we armed all them guys.
Even Osama, he was actually a rebel.
Yeah,
there's so many ill practices by the CIA and so many cover-ups that stem clear back, way back. You know, like even now. Okay, you guys have seen Lethal Weapon, and you've heard about like Air America and how the CIA was flying drugs into, you know, Vietnam and, you know,
that's
back and forth.
True.
That is actually a true story. Yes.
Yeah.
The CIA was actually doing that. The CIA was in bed with people like, what's the big cartel kingpin that was
Pablo Chapo?
Yeah, El Chapo, and the one before him.
They just did a movie with Tom Cruise about that whole thing, about the reporter, about the whole way that the guy got tied into running those drugs for the Contras, to fund the Contras.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, our government has been doing things like that for years and years and years. Now, at one point, there was, so Fort Knox, does it have gold in it?
I don't know. It might have the moon landing tapes because they can't find them.
I mean, that's another controversy that nobody seems to want to answer. They called for an audit in 1974. They went in, took photos. There was gold in there, or at least what looked like gold in there, and it's never been audited since. They won't do a public audit. They refuse to do a public audit of the gold in Fort Knox. The gold in Fort Knox is what our money is based on. The dollar bill, the almighty dollar, is based on the gold in Fort Knox.
We need a lot of gold to send up these satellites. So there's some people who think that a lot of that gold is gone because it's on loan to those satellites, and that's why when they come falling down into people's yards, the government like goes after them because they have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of precious metals. So if a satellite falls in your yard, cover it up with a tarp and start scrapping.
Dave, the producer, with the $20 super chat, he says, "Don't talk about Skull and Bones. I have to go now." Thank you, Dave, the producer, for the $20 super chat. Reptilian elite are among us.
Oh yes, I agree.
Blood drinking, flesh eating, shape shifting. It moved on me. Extraterrestrial reptilian humanoids with only one objective in their cold-blooded little heads: to enslave the human race.
Oh yeah.
Serenity.
Oh, Serenity has been throwing out some really awesome subject matter in the chat. She bring up Pizzagate.
Pizzagate.
Oh man, that stuff's been going on.
That's one I'm telling you, you don't even want to mention it. It's the first way. I probably shouldn't even have said it, but yeah, I've actually seen.
Wait, what is Pizzagate?
Oh, we don't want to talk about it, dude. It's the
Just give me a brief breakdown of it.
Okay, Pizzagate is a conspiracy that the elites have these clubs that are sexual slavery type clubs where they have children that they actually they rape and murder, and they have these codes for the different acts that they commit on these children. And pizza was like one of the codes for pizza was that they had a child. And it just gets really weird and really messed up so fast. And when you find out the names that are actually connected to it, and there was actually one video that was leaked out onto YouTube of them visiting a famous pizza shop in Washington, where there's a person in a mask talking about, cannibalistically eating children, and everybody's laughing and joking like it's normal, like it's okay. And
like dog ham or something. I mean,
no, it's far worse than dog ham, man.
It's disturbing, man.
It's very bad. It's basically they're kidnapping or buying children to use them in these horrible acts that they commit because they're the richest people on the planet and they think they can do whatever they want. And I've actually seen into that world a little bit living here in Massachusetts. And let me tell you, there is some people that really think that they are above and beyond any law. And they pretty much are. There's pretty much no way for them to get into trouble. And these are the people that are doing things like this.
wow.
But yeah, Pizzagate has gotten a lot of YouTube channels shut right off. So it's not the best subject to.
Well, okay, we'll move on. I don't want to get shut down. I don't want to break no YouTube laws or nothing, y'all.
That's the unwritten law of YouTube. There's just a lot of channels that been. See ya. Goodbye.
Welcome to the CommieTube.
Yep. All right. Did you see the video that YouTube released on notifications?
The video they released on notifications? No, I haven't seen that yet.
All right. You might notice in the next few days, if you're a content creator, a little advertisement on your creator studio, and the advertisement is, I believe what it says is what's up with the apps or with notifications. I forget the actual title to it, but they go into the reasoning and why you're not getting your notifications. Like your viewers are not getting the notifications. One of these reasons is that a lot of YouTubers like to upload on the hour. So they wait till 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. What the guy who's trying to fix the issue says is to just do it randomly within the hour. Don't do it on the hour, because a lot of YouTubers do. And what that does is it floods the system and it makes it so a certain percentage of YouTubers' notifications stop working for a certain amount of time. Another thing is, and they even mention that in India, there's so many uploads in India that they take up pretty much all of the bandwidth for these notifications, and it leaves everybody else in the dust. But one of the biggest things we need to start telling our fans is, when you click that notification bell, you need to make sure you put it on all notifications. Because if you don't put it on all notifications, you might not get any notifications. And that's what they call it something like, and like they're pretty much inactive.
Well, see, that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because I get notifications for channels that I'm not even subscribed to sometimes.
Yes.
And then the ones I am subscribed to and have the bell on for all notifications, sometimes I won't get their notifications.
Well, that's why they explain that some of the system has been messing up because of a overflow of, people using this service all at one time. But
I've also noticed that, okay, so, and just for the sake of argument, Boomer. If Boomer goes live, say at noon, and does an hour stream, and then says, hey, I'm going to go to the store, but I'll be live here again in an hour. And then he goes live again. That second time he goes live, no notification goes out.
That would fall under what is it? There's all notifications, one that's like just some notifications. That could fall under that. They also explain, don't put a video up and then put it on private and then put it back up, because you only get one shot at a notification. But my question is, what is the whole purpose for having that bell? Why would you have a notifications bell and have people be able to press it so literally you get no notifications? You're not pressing the bell at that point. Like, why even have that as an option? No notifications. Just turn the bell off. That's what it is. So that's a way to turn the bell off without actually turning the bell off. Makes no sense. Just make the bell either on or off, and that will simplify it. But no, they don't want to make it simple. They want to make it.
Here's the other thing. You subscribe to somebody, you turn the bell on, even if you put it on all notifications, you come back a week later and YouTube has turned that bell off for you.
Yep, because they think that you're not active. So they take it upon themselves to remove that bell. That's my theory. So if you're really a fan of a certain channel, and I've had my favorite channel, my most favorite channel on YouTube, I've had that bell taken off 2 times. I'm in every live stream. I watch every video. And you're going to take my bell away for a channel that I'm literally like, I love that channel. Like, it's not no mystery what channel I'm talking about, but it's horrible. It's horrible. It's a way to try to make things harder for the little guy. So Because who really suffers in that instance? It's not the guy with 3 million subscribers. It's the guy with under 100,000. Even some creators with 100,000 subscribers go through these same troubles, these same issues.
My biggest thing, like, I don't know, my biggest complaint with YouTube right now is you have to have at least 10,000 subscribers to have the join button, okay? The partnership program button or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. But if you're a gamer, you get that button at 1,500 subscribers.
As soon as you're monetized.
Yeah, 1,500 subscribers and your monetization, and you're good to go as long as you're a gamer. If you're a content creator or a live streamer, you don't get it until you have at least 10,000 subscribers.
No,
that's a lot of work to put in.
It's 30,000.
Is it 30,000? Okay,
it's 30,000 because
three times worse. I mean, how is that fair?
Heather Hunting's just became available for it because she just recently hit 30,000 subscribers. They started out when they first started, it was 100,000. Then they cut it back down to 30,000. Now
they need to make that the same across the board, whether it's a gaming channel or a live streamer. They really need to make it.
Well, the reason they give it to the gamers is because if they don't give it to the gamers just go over to Twitch where they get it from there. So it makes it a lot easier for
you. Okay, so they're and obviously they're making their average 30% off of those partnerships or whatever you want to call it, the membership program, right? YouTube is making 30% off of each membership once a month.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So why wouldn't they want to make 30% off of the live streamers like that once a month? If they're that money hungry and out for money, why wouldn't they make it a level playing field and open that up right across the board? It doesn't make much sense.
Now you're taking away revenue from the higher viewed, the bigger channel is getting less money in their eyes because now that money's going to small channels, which kills big YouTube channels.
Why would YouTube care about that? They're making the same 30%, whether it's on the big YouTuber or the little YouTuber. That's what don't make any sense to me. YouTube's still going to get their money either way. It ain't going to matter. You know what I'm saying?
I think YouTube's in a catch-22 where they're never going to make everybody happy. And they're pretty much in a spot where, the little guy is going to get the.
And that's the thing. I watched that video that Green Bay Wacky shared with us the other day. And, a lot of the big YouTubers are really unhappy. They're getting undercut. They're getting demonetized videos. They're getting this and that. Like a lot of them are going over to D Live and Rise and Twitch and all these other, social media platforms.
Yep.
And when is enough going to be enough for YouTube? When are they going to say, okay, we're losing too many people to these other social media platforms. We need to revamp. We need to make it fair again. We need to make it right.
That's when YouTube will do something is when, they're not worried yet because they're, like you said, they're not really losing that much. But when one of these other platforms becomes the main platform, when it overtakes like YouTube as the main content platform, it might bankrupt YouTube. It might put them out of business. But it doesn't take a genius to see this in the not too far future.
I know that YouTube is leaning more towards a movie television based platform. We have already got YouTube TV came out. We got YouTube Kids. We've got YouTube Premium now. And then there's YouTube, the leftovers, that the place where all us small YouTubers are still here, still grinding at it, still working at it, still trying to make it big. But, they're making money off of the advertising on the TV. They're making money off of the advertising on the kids networks. They're making money. I mean, they're making money hand over fist, no matter what way they look at it. But
Yeah.
No, here's the thing I have with YouTube. It's they're censoring not just gun channels. They've been censoring gaming. They've been censoring conservative channels. I mean, there's been censoring on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I mean, these companies are actually going to get sued eventually, and they're violating your First Amendment right to actually speak your own marks and whatever you want to talk about.
Can I just say that I really, really like YouTube, and YouTube is the best. Thank you for letting me make videos on your platform, and I love you guys. You
And
guys are awesome.
that's the thing right there. They do not charge us to use the platform. That is the whole argument with YouTube. They're like, well, we're not charging you to be here.
Yeah, in a way they are.
I mean, they're getting their money out of us.
I'll tell you what, I'd rather pay them a $30 subscription to YouTube fee a month than have to take 30% of my ad revenue, which ends up being a lot more than that in the end.
I don't even accept any money from YouTube. Not once since 2017. I have not accepted 1 cent. I've done this for a hobby and it's an enjoyment meeting people like you guys.
That's awesome.
I don't care about their money, man. It's more to life than money.
Well, I care about the money. You could send it to me.
I'm just and this is what I've said from the beginning. I will be happy when my channel starts when I have enough videos out there, or I'm getting enough views each month for the AdSense to actually pay for the internet, so that the channel will sustain itself.
To be self-sustaining is what you
Yes, to be self-sustaining, for the channel to be self-sustaining.
Yeah. For you not to have to come out of your pocket to
Right.
bring your content to your people.
Right.
That's actually really hard to do.
It is, and I'm not going to stop until I get there.
Yep.
Whether it takes me 10,000 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers to be able to do so, I will keep grinding on it for my subscribers. I will keep going. I will still put up content. I will do live streams. I will do shows like this and EVPs, and I will keep going. I will get up on people's panels. I will get my brand out there, and I will keep grinding at it. I put in 16 to 20 hours a day most days on YouTube, watching other people's videos, lurking in their streams, up on their panels, helping grow the community or helping out others in the community, or just putting out content and, doing some hangouts with friends every once in a while. And, I will keep it going until I get there. But that's my goal, is to make the channel self-sustaining, that it takes care of its own bill. And, if I make a little bit more than that on the side, hey, so be it. But, to have the channel self-sustaining and pay its own internet bill and everything, then I don't have to take money away from my family to put on content. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Divine K. Raven, sending love from Sydney, Australia. Lou and Ghost Mafia.
You know what? I just say to follow your dream, fight as hard as you can to
Mudcon with a $10 super chat. Just because you and Lou rock is so clear and you worked so hard in the yard. LOL. I was out there working in the yard today. I have to let them know. I was we got a pop-up camper give to us recently, and it was kind of trash. So we literally gutted everything out of this pop-up camper and turned it into a nice little trailer. And now we're going to start working on putting a new floor in it and stuff like that. So that's what been out in the yard most of the evening doing. So what's that say? 30% of calm planted this year. Oh, that's cool.
You know what though? The reason I kept going on YouTube and kept fighting to grow and get where I want to get is from people telling me I can't do it. You can't do it. YouTube is over. There's no more YouTube. It's done. Those exact words are what pushed me through and made me not give up in those times where you're like, man, like, can I keep doing this? And there's been lots of those moments, but every single day there's somebody that's giving up. There's a lot of somebody's giving up, and that makes room for new people to grow and get bigger. What I've also found on YouTube is in certain communities, there's a lot of camaraderie. I've been helped by some really big channels with no, no, you owe me anything. No, like, why'd you do this for me? Oh, because when I was a little channel, somebody did it for me. That's awesome. That's awesome. And
Cab 7, brother. Holy shit. Cab 7, you are awesome. He says a down payment for the internet bill, my friend.
No,
Cab 7, you are awesome. Guys, if you don't know Cab 7, you got to get over to his channel, hit that bar, ding that bell, drop a like on his videos, and leave him a comment so he can get back to you. That man is a saint. He is my brother. He is a veteran, and I've had him in my house. I love that man to death. So he helps out so many people in the community. He's always there. He's always lurking. I didn't even know he was in the chat until he dropped that super chat on me. He was there lurking. And I'm always lurking in his streams. Even if you don't see me in there, I'm watching because I watch out for my brother's back. So
I love Cap because he's the first one to tell you, I'm not a saint. I'm an imperfect human being, just like anybody else. But Cab tries to better himself, and he just tries to lift up everybody, not just one person. Everybody. I love that. I respect that a lot about Cab. That's why, since I've been watching Cab 7, it's been almost 2 years now. I knew from day one that he's gonna be very big on YouTube because of his heart shining through his channel. That's one thing that you always see is you see his big old heart coming out, shining right through the computer screen, right into our homes. And I'm proud to know him.
I have to say, I'm sad to say that I missed out on his stream earlier. I know he does Sing Your Heart Out on Tuesday nights. And I was out in the yard working.
Elsie got some pipes, man.
I missed it. I'm going to have to go back and watch that. And next week, I think I might just jump up there and sing a little bit for him. So
I gotta see this.
Yeah, I might jump up there and sing a few songs for him next week.
Ghost Mafia. Every time I don't want it mentioned, Ghost Mafia goes, "Oh yeah, Lou Rock's a singer. He sings. He likes to sing."
Lou Rock has been up there singing on Cab 7's channel for Sing Your Heart Out Tuesday a couple times. I've been up there once or twice.
See what I mean about Ghost Mafia and the singing thing?
Yeah.
Wait until you sing. I'm just gonna do 24-hour commercials. Go look at Ghost Mafia singing on Cab 7s.
All right. Well, Cab 7, save me a spot next Tuesday. I will get up there and sing my heart out.
You have to.
That's at 10 o'clock at night. Cab goes.
What you have to do is you got to be there and you got to send them a message saying, "I'm in." That's how you do it.
Hey, I'm telling him a week ahead of time. I'm in next week. I'm in.
All right.
Just send me that link. I'll be the first one on the panel.
I don't know. You know what? I've seen a lot of lot of camaraderie on YouTube, a lot of people helping people, and you know, you get into those drama communities and stuff. Stuff is all negative all the time. I don't. Sometimes it's funny, but sometimes it's just.
Well, and a lot of the stuff that we've talked about YouTube tonight can be discerning, can be discouraging, but I think, you know, once YouTube gets its head out of its keister and gets things straight, the ones that stick it out through all the crap and the BS and all these bad decisions that you two are making right now, the ones that are sticking it out and going ahead and pushing forward and pushing through, those are the ones that are going to hit big. So don't get discouraged. Just keep pushing through. We'll all do it together, and we'll be here every step of the way.
Amen. That
I refer to words that came from Omar Gosh, a giant YouTuber, that if you apply yourself 100% to anything for a long enough amount of time, it is an inevitability that you will be successful. Not 98%, not 92%, 100% of your effort, and it's a guarantee that you will be successful.
Well, a friend of mine, Pusha Studios, says the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And if you keep making noise on YouTube, you're gonna get the grease at some point. You're gonna break.
You might not want the grease. You might not want the grease, but
I'm just saying, you know, you're gonna keep making noise. A lot more people are gonna come to see what you're making noise about.
After the stuff we've talked about tonight, man, I'm kind of afraid to do this show again. I'll be getting a letter tomorrow.
The men in black are going to show up at our doors tonight.
The guys in red with the big play button on their chest.
Mudcon with a $2 super chat. Doghead, Tab 7 will outsing us all. Just saying.
It's true.
It's true. It's true.
When he sings that MASH song, I didn't know the MASH song actually had lyrics until I heard him sing it. But when I hear him sing it, like, that's my favorite song that he sings. And for me, that's the Cab 7 song because that's the first time I ever heard it. And I don't know, it just stuck with me. I love that song. When Cab 7 sings it.
We got paid, so recharge. I think YouTube is wanting to be done with live streamers, probably because of kids trolling and cyberbullying. YT has to be way more involved than they want to be.
Well, another thing is, you know, you got all these people using up all this bandwidth. You know, you got some channels that got 3 people in a chat, and they're using up all this bandwidth, and they're costing YouTube a lot of money. So, but how are you ever supposed to grow if you can't start somewhere?
Well, and here's the thing: they did just touch on a very, very good subject, the cyberbullying and the trolling and all that stuff. For most people, it does take a toll. There is people out there that are sensitive, that they take comments and things that are put into their chats to heart sometimes.
Big YouTubers that have come close to quitting from some of the horrible things.
Etika jumped off a bridge Saturday night. They found his body today.
Wow.
Jeez.
He committed suicide because of a bunch of trolls and getting trolled on YouTube.
I don't realize that.
I remember when
they found the body last night. They just announced that it was his body today. So
Jeez.
when Patty's husband passed away, there was a certain YouTuber who took it upon himself to attack her in pretty much every disgusting way possible right at her weakest moment. And that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen from a human being in my life. Like, I could not even imagine somebody like in their head thinking, I'm going to say these things to somebody who just lost the most important person in their life. And then this person is now got a fairly big channel. And it's kind of funny that he doesn't share that story about attacking somebody when they're,
No, Anarchy, I wasn't saying you was a crap. No, I was talking about the trolls, like people that take troll comments to heart and let it get to them to the point that they're actually going out there and jumping off of bridges and committing suicide. Like, some of these people, they just, I don't know if they just need thicker skin or what, but a troll is a troll. You ban them and you move on and you have a good show. You just
but sometimes even a thick skin, man. Like I said, even some of these really big YouTubers get, some comments that really hit you hard. They hit you really hard.
How bad was this kid getting trolled to the point where he literally made an 8-minute video talking about how he's going to end his life, and then leaves his book bag and his phone and stuff on the Manhattan Bridge and jumps into the water, only to be found near Pier 16 3 days later.
Wow. God bless you.
I mean, it's when is YouTube gonna tighten its belt on the trolling and things like that? Now, I mean, they're tightening up the restrictions on the actual channels, but they aren't really doing anything about the trolling situation and the cyberbullying.
How about the squatting? People have been shot and killed by law enforcement. I mean, that's not even a joke anymore. I mean, if you actually are held responsible for swatting a person, you're going to actually go to jail for that.
Right. Like, YouTube really needs to buckle down on some of that stuff.
I think what they really need to do is make YouTube something that you really have to verify where and who you are to be on YouTube. That way there you're going to get rid of a lot of troll accounts. Right. If it can be traced right back to them super easily, that will take down a lot of the trolling. It will not happen anymore, especially with the threat of going to jail over their head. I think it'll stop a big amount of the trolling.
That's true.
So you open up an account, you actually have to, have an ID, have a legitimate IP that goes to a legitimate address that matches your ID. Like, same thing if you're opening up a bank account. It has to be a real person. Or, like, you can't just...
Yes, if anybody has that link, if any of my mods has that link to the suicide hotline, can you drop it in the chat over there? Because definitely, like, it's an issue. And when people are getting trolled that bad that they're actually, committing suicide over what a troll is saying in their chat. I mean, I know this kid was a big YouTuber. He had thousands and thousands of subscribers, but still to get trolled that bad to drive you to suicide. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if it's, he might have had some other stuff going on in his life and stuff, but it seemed like in his video, and I watched the video, in his video, it was mainly about the trolls and the hate.
You gotta think about it like this. Think about how hard it is to grow on YouTube. He overcame that. He grew on YouTube. And to have put such an investment of all your time, your money, your life into something, to have it ruined by others is devastating. It's completely devastating. And I've seen that more more times than not. Actually, I've seen a lot of people just totally torn down by horrible, hateful people.
Yeah.
That's why, guys, Cab 7 is a great channel to go and watch, because you can go there and know that you're not going to be torn down. That's why I enjoy Cab 7 so much. Not to be a Cab 7 commercial tonight, but I do believe in them a lot.
I do too. Yeah.
We love you, Cab 7!
Red Kryptonite says, I might go live on this again. This topic, I need to get some other things off my chest. Jojo Walker's in there. This is why I won't be a YouTuber. Divine K. Raven. Well, I mean, and here's the thing, and Jojo can attest to this. Now, we have trolls that come to our channels, but we don't let the trolls get to us. We don't react the way that they expect us to react. And then, you know, like on JoJo's channel, she'll actually troll the trolls. She gives it right back to them. And that's kind of what you got to do. You got to kind of give it right back to them. And sometimes you'll say something funny that they like, and all of a sudden, you know, like Carlos is prone to come into my channel every once in a while. He says something, hey Carlos, you know, I don't ban him. Because, you know, we've gotten a repertoire with each other, and it's kind of his turf. You know, if other trolls come in here, I tell them straight up, look, you're treading on Carlos's turf. You might want to think about what you're about to do, because Carlos is probably one of the most famous trolls on YouTube. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just saying, you know, that's how we kind of handle things, you know. And JoJo has a link if she wants to come up and say a few things on this topic. You're more than welcome to, JoJo.
You know, here's the thing too. I cannot be in the guys' shoes that are trolls that are doing this stuff. I mean, yeah, you are trolling a person to the point where they want to commit suicide. Here's the thing. God have mercy on your soul for what you just did.
You know,
I mean, that's just what I have in mind. You know, like, God have mercy on your soul.
The crazy thing is, it's mostly young kids doing this stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just teenage punks that are bored or got no life, and they decide to tear others down. Not saying there isn't a lot of adults that take part in it, but a lot of it is kids that haven't lived life yet. They don't know what life's about. They don't know how hard it can be on a person, and they don't really know what they're doing. Or maybe they do and they're sociopathic. I don't know.
Probably never heard of this, but digital suicide is part of the tech.
What's digital suicide? Shutting down all your social media?
You know what? And I hate to say it, it's kind of a subject that South Park covered in one of their episodes, actually, where they shut down their Twitter account without saying anything, or they shut down their Facebook without saying anything. They just shut down all their social medias and walk away from the internet. And it's kind of like digital suicide, I guess.
I have one person that I had a falling out with, and this person was really nice to me, and they've disappeared from YouTube everywhere, actually. And I don't know if this person is alive or dead. And now I kind of wish that we made up, because life is too short to hold grudges and be mad at people.
Terry Cope says, Ghost and Lou, I was in a stream a few days ago. Me and the host got trolled pretty bad. I found out the troll was a 30-year-old woman and has made a career out of trolling people. She has at least 10 accounts.
Wow.
Well, yeah, God have mercy on her soul for what you're doing.
I had a conversation with some people about people being successful on YouTube, that a pretty high percentage of those people that made it big were trolled really hard at one point, like so hard that it was a public thing, that, you know, this person's being trolled super hard by so and so or whatever. So my camera, I was wondering where my camera went. But yeah, it's crazy. And then you'll get trolls that go out there and they start accounts, and what they do is they troll big YouTubers, and the reason that they do it is so that their videos get watched, because sadly those videos do get high views. So there is a whole genre of trolls that are professional trolls, and actually do somewhat make it on YouTube.
You know, I wish there was some way to actually track a troll and actually send them a virus and it actually exploded their equipment.
All you have to do is make them accountable for their actions. If you made YouTube something that you had to sign up with your social security number, your birthday, your whole identity, you wouldn't see so many fake accounts. You would see.
Well, that's the thing. That's dangerous right there too.
Here's the conspiracy about it, though.
YouTube or not.
The conspiracy about it is that YouTube is putting all these restrictions on the actual creators, the hosts, the actual channels, and not putting enough pressure on these trolls.
Yep.
That's the conspiracy here. You know what I mean?
Well, what was it? Shoot, what was that guy? Shoot, he fled to Russia, but he was trying to get away from the American government for something he did. Shoot, what was his name? Snowden.
Yes. Yep, Snowden.
Yeah, and he said that the government's actually spying on us and all that. Well, of course they are, probably.
Listen, if I could just say, hello, Siri, and my phone's dead right now, or it would go, what can I do for you, Lou? That's an ear that's always listening. It's always on. When you click to use Facebook and all of these apps that you have, you click a button that agrees to all their terms of services, which allows them access to your microphone, your camera, your personal information, pretty much everything. And we're doing it by choice. That's the whole trick of it, is we're choosing to do so. So it is dangerous, but I lived as somebody who was completely off of the grid for a lot of time. Never used any social media, never used smartphones, only used, a regular $15 flip phone. That's it. And you don't really have a digital fingerprint, but you have to choose to live that way. You can't, nobody's forcing us to be on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. We choose to do this. It's, part of the fad. Everybody wants to be popular. It's like high school.
That's exactly it. It's a choice. It's, having a phone and being able to live stream, that's a luxury. I know people that are actually homeless and living on the streets that are using their phone to still live stream on YouTube.
But you know what? That's what
It's a
makes YouTube
choice.
such an amazing place, because I've seen some of the best content that I've ever seen is people in those situations that vlog what they're really going through and really show you all the struggles, all the pain, all the dirtiness of it. I mean, I've seen some amazing pieces of work from just average random people that have been courageous enough to share what they've been through.
But I mean, there's homeless that can't help being homeless. Then there's homeless that have made a choice to be homeless. Is what I was getting at. You know what I mean?
This is the United States, though. There was a whole generation of people that decided to be vagabonds back in, the 50s and 60s, that decided to live on the train tracks and just live that kind of life.
Back in the old hobo days.
Yes, hobo.
Living out of train cars. Yes. That actually used to be a thing. There would actually be like hobo towns and things along the tracks.
The closest thing we have to the old hobo towns is the Slab City out there in where is Slab City? Arizona or something? I don't know where it's at. All I know, they have a bunch of slab cities, but I'm talking about one in particular. There's no law element there. There's no police. It's what's actually very amazing is it's not completely all just totally degenerate people. Some of the people out there are just really crafty at living off of the grid and living for free and showing that you can make something out of nothing. And not all of them are like bad people, drug addicts or criminals or people on the run. I've seen some people that just decided, I don't want to live this life in a box. That's what I call it, in a box. You go to your job every day, it's in a box. Your house is a box. Every box you make gets you closer to the big box at the end when you're being buried. So I actually admire some people who go and live off the grid and do the things that you only imagine, like I've imagined that I would like to do.
I mean, here's another conspiracy.
Have an underground bunker, like a fallout shelter type deal. That would be so awesome.
No, here's another thing, Lou. I mean, here's another conspiracy. I mean, we go back in time, where we had our own farms and on all our agriculture and our foods. That's where we always go. We always go to a grocery store to pick up something, and some of it's not even natural.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and okay, so my great grandmother, she ate steak and eggs and bacon for breakfast every day. 94 years old when she passed away. No cancer, not a touch of cancer. They always grew their own food. They had their own chickens, fresh eggs, all that stuff. They raised pigs and cows and everything else. You got to figure when they was back there doing that, this is all stuff. They didn't shoot them up with hormones. They didn't, there was no growth hormones put into the food and stuff that they would get from the supermarkets or anything like that. Everything was coming from a butcher shop, and it was raised naturally on, grass out in the field and hay and silage that you cut out of the cornfield and put in the silo for the winter, and raw milk.
You want to hear a disgusting statistic? In 1903, the occurrences of cancer in Americans was 1 in 30 people. Today, the occurrence of cancer in the people in the United States is 1 in 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they say within 10 years, and actually this statistic is from like last year, so within 9 years, every single person will experience some form of cancer at one point in their life. That's a statistic that they're saying is going to be true within 9 years. That's scary. So that's telling me that my kids have no chance of not having to deal with some form of cancer during their lifetime.
Well, think about this. Okay, you go back to like the 1940s and look at some of the older black and white movies. Look at any John Wayne movie. Okay, they're smoking in the movies. They're promoting smoking in the movies. They're in a dance hall and they've got cigarette girls coming around with cigarettes. You know, they're passing out cigarettes like they're candy.
Yes.
This was back in the 1940s. Nowadays, you don't see Marlboro commercials on TV. You don't see them on YouTube. You don't see them
kids back in those days.
You know, you don't see cigarette commercials anywhere anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You barely see cigarette commercials even on billboards anymore. I can remember, you know, you had the Marlboro man up on the billboards going down the highway, you know, smoking.
You know the difference, though? The difference is back in those days, they weren't pumping benzene and freaking, asbestos and tar and all these chemicals into tobacco. It was actually tobacco that was just grown. Not such crazy pesticides as today.
Well, here's the thing too. Back then, most of the cigarettes didn't have filters either.
That's where most of the poisons come from, is the filters. I know a guy who just died at he was 80 something years old, and he smoked Camel cigarettes since he was 16 years old. That's a lot of smoking. George Burns, puffing those cigars down. Cigars are made with mostly tobacco, no filters.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a horrible, horrible. Think about cigarettes, the idea of them. People are paying pretty much more than their bills. The average smoker pays more money for cigarettes per month than they pay on the bills in their house. We're paying all of our money to kill ourselves, to make our teeth yellow, to make our skin uglier and wrinkled and yellow. We're paying to destroy ourselves. Here, take my money. I'll have bad breath and freaking cancer. Better save those Marlboro miles for chemotherapy. Hopefully they take them at the hospital.
Yeah. Here's another thing. I don't know if there's even is there actually a cure for cancer?
There's cures for some forms of cancer. Cancer as a whole, no, there's some kinds of cancer that we can't even touch. There's nothing we can do.
Well, they say they have a cure, but apparently they don't want us to use it, and they just treat it.
I mean, it could be possible, but what makes sense to me is different forms of cancer are different. So they're all going to have different kinds of cures for them.
Well, here's the thing that this stems from the whole controversy, and we talked about it with the water engine earlier. Okay, so the water engine, somebody invented it. Somebody was paid to keep the guy quiet because industry, the car producers and things, would lose money making their gas-powered engines if somebody came out with a water-powered engine.
Yep.
That was hundreds of dollars cheaper than the cars that were coming out. And this was in a time that they still had muscle cars, so they were still big V8 engines and everything else. And if they could make a V8 engine run off of water, hey, now that would be the thing. So the industry shut them down. This is the same kind of thing that's going to be happening with, the cure for cancer. Okay, if you can pay one time and cure your cancer, or your insurance keeps paying for years and years of treatments, who's making the most money there?
The provider.
Right.
Yep. That's true.
So,
but then also what they can do is they can make that one-time cure $30,000 or $100,000. They could just make it some astronomical amount of money.
Well,
And-
I mean, okay, so like hepatitis, okay, they have a cure. It costs $90,000 for the 3-regimen treatment to cure it.
Wow.
$90,000.
That's way over budget.
That's insane. That's Harvoni, right?
Yes, that is Harvoni.
And I know people who have had that treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lady who had.
And it's not a guarantee that the treatment, the full 3-stage treatment, will cure it. You may have to have a 4th stage.
It's a very high percentage, though.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about people being cured of
Hepatitis.
Hepatitis C.
Mm.
The thing is like my uncle David, he had AIDS, not HIV. He had full-blown AIDS, and he was on. He actually lived for 30-something years with full-blown AIDS, not HIV, full-blown AIDS. And he had done some treatments with medicine called interferon. And I believe that's a nuclear medicine. I might be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about here.
But he did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Yes. All I know is if you've had treatments like because they treated some hepatitis patients with interferon. It was a experimental drug when my uncle was taking it. And if you've taken medicines like it, well, I wouldn't call it a medicine because it's really tough on your body. He got really sick taking that. And but if you've taken medicines like that, that actually fights against that Harvoni treatment. They say that 90-something% of people who have never had treatment for hepatitis C can be cured with Harvoni. But if you've had treatments, your percentage goes down substantially from somebody who is untreated, which is really upsetting to some people. Because, say in the 80s, to have something like HIV or hepatitis or anything like that was so shunned upon, looked down upon. In fact, some people that I know got it because they were taught that it was something that only gay people got.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up getting it because they believed these stories. And
it was like from say 1987 to 1994. There was a lot of scare tactics in the media that drove people to really be paranoid of AIDS and things like that. And even in the fire service, like, the rubber gloves and the bloodborne pathogen classes you have to take and this and that and everything else, they still to this day will really harp on you about, AIDS and it being out there. And, it's a very real thing, and you can get it by transfusion. You can get it by, touching the person's blood and it seeping through your skin and this and that. Now, like literally they will, especially in the fire service, if you roll up on a car accident and there's blood all over the place, obviously, you don't really think about that when you're on scene. You're just getting in there, you're doing a job, and you're getting it done. But you have your protective stuff that you have to have on, obviously rubber gloves and things like that. But if you end up having to give like mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or, CPR or anything like that, there's stuff that they give you at the fire department, things like that. In fact, I think I have a mask right here.
Yeah, the mask that goes over their mouth.
Yeah, it's a one-way valve so that they don't throw up in your mouth when you're giving them CPR and things like that. And it's all because of the AIDS epidemic and the AIDS scare.
Now, the point that I was really trying to get to is now my Uncle David, when he was diagnosed, he was public with everybody, totally honest with every person in his life. And that is something that not everybody did. A lot of people denied they had it, hid that they had it, spread it, gave it to a lot of other people. I think that he was so courageous to be somebody, one of the first people in these times to come out and say, yeah, I got this and I'm living with it. And, but the whole point I was making is for those people who got treatment and those people who did the right thing, the people that are being rewarded, really, I mean, in all actuality, are the people that lived the reckless life and didn't ever get treatment, didn't ever, face up to what was going on in their life. So it's kind of like a weird double-edged sword that people that actually got treatment have less likelihood of curing it, but that somebody who never had any treatment and they're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I'm just happy that they cured hepatitis C because I live in a area in Massachusetts where we're pretty high up on the list for blood transmitted diseases and stuff of that nature. So
I mean,
thing to hear.
I mean, you look back in back what 2014, we had that big Ebola epidemic that was going on between Africa and America,
And that's something that could take us out.
And the bird flu and swine flu, and it seems like every year it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
Every year it's something different.
If Ebola could go airborne in the United States.
What was the one that we just had here with the Wheeling Hospital? Wasn't that measles or something like that? Mumps? Like they had a measles scare. Measles are supposedly extinct anymore. They don't even inoculate for measles anymore because it's been eradicated. And here they had what, 3 cases of it at the Wheeling Hospital not too long ago, and then the hospital tried to cover it up.
Now, is measles the same as chickenpox?
No.
Because I had chickenpox as a kid. That was not fun.
No, Kyle, I'm not in the fire department anymore. I'm retired. I still first respond if I see an accident, things like that. I will stop and help out, but I'm no longer in the fire department anymore. I've long since retired.
Thank you, Ghost.
Sorry. I was just answering a question for Kyle in the chat.
No, thank you for your service, bro.
Oh, well, you're welcome, man.
Thank you for your service, man.
Yes, thanks. I don't live there, but thanks.
Megan says measles made me deaf.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Who said that?
Megan's blog.
Wow.
Now, Lou, you said you had chickenpox when you were a kid?
Yep.
Here's a scary thing. My grandfather had chickenpox, and he actually had shingles. That was because of that.
Yeah.
I had shingle. No. I had a really bad sickness that I caught from swimming in the wrong pond that was called Shigella. You ever hear of that?
No.
Shigella.
Shigella was something actually that came from duck poop, and it actually you actually had bleeding from your rectum and blood in your throw up. And
Ugh.
yeah, it was a really, really bad sickness that I got in, I think, 90 something. And that was tough. I went swimming in the Ludlow Pond right after the ducks and swans took off for the season. And because of the duck poop in the pond, it must have contacted my mouth or eyes or something. And yeah, Shigella was bad. That was probably the worst sickness I've been in my life, other than pneumonia.
Well, I know after I had my oldest son, there was people in our hospital that was being treated for H1N1, which is like swine flu.
Bird flu.
No, swine flu.
Oh, swine flu. All
Yeah.
right.
SARS is comes from bird flu, but they were being treated, and when I got let go and our kid could come home, I actually had to be quarantined for 2 weeks because I had contracted it from the hospital. So I couldn't even be around the new baby for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now, that brings up a whole new conspiracy, which is inoculations in themselves.
Yeah. I was thinking that myself.
Now,
The whole thing that there's a lot of people that do not want to inoculate their children because they have fear of some of the inoculations can cause like autism in children or Down syndrome or whatever,
a lot of different stuff.
Asperger's and all kinds of different things. But I don't know that it's actually been proven that the inoculations actually cause that.
All right, it hasn't been proven that all inoculations have done that, but it has happened where certain inoculations have caused problems, and that's where the fear probably comes in. But try to have a child in the United States and not get them inoculated. They're gonna get taken away from you, for one, because for them to even go to school, they have to be inoculated.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And then in the United States, to homeschool your children, you actually have to get permission to do that, which they also have to be inoculated.
Where was that? Someplace recently. I think it was someplace like New York or someplace like that. They just passed a law where if your child isn't inoculated, it's not allowed to be out in public.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I
Well,
can see that happening.
I can understand people being worried about reactions to the shots and that, but it's like anything else in this life, okay? Like these people that don't feed their kids peanut butter because they're like, they'll get an allergy. Or if you give them small amounts of that, it fights it off. The body's got to build immune to it. These shots have small doses of those illnesses to build that immunity.
Yeah, but there's also cases of those small doses actually getting you sick. Look at
Well, they will, but that's the thing. You take the flu shot, you have a small dose of the flu. 9 times out of 10, you get sick, and you're gonna get sick from it. But it's a hell of a lot less of a sickness than full blown. You know what I mean?
I've seen really, really death-defyingly sick because of getting a flu shot.
But have you looked at the background of those people's health?
What's
You
that?
have to look at their health, okay? If their health is crappy to begin with,
Yeah, but that's when they actually ask you to get the flu shot, is if you're old or young or
yeah, but a young person, okay, you could have like 10 young people and 10 old people, and half of them be really good health, really strong immune systems, and some of them not. And the reason being, it's all in your genetics. I mean, and it's comes down to what the mother is eating or doing during pregnancy. That all affects it. If your genetics suck, then I'm sorry, you're going to get screwed no matter how you look. Okay?
I'll tell you what, I've never had one flu shot in my lifetime.
Mhm.
And I get the flu a lot less than people that actually get the shot.
See, I haven't.
Same here.
I think I've had one flu shot in my entire life, and that was when I was a kid, and my mom made me take it. But other than that, I barely get sick with that. I get like sinus colds and stuff like that, but I don't get the flu.
My biggest thing is it's not so much like the vaccinations or anything like that, but I want to know. Okay, so Jojo, when we were kids
Yep.
and we were going to school, you and I were going to school, you know, we're brother and sister. We went to the different schools the same time together. So anyway, when you were going to school, how many kids in that school had food allergies to peanuts, wheat bread, things like that? Like
None.
Yeah, and nowadays it's like 1 out of every 5 kid has some kind of peanut allergy or wheat allergy or like.
But do you want to know why? Do you
what
want to
is-
know why? There's so much more chemicals in our food now, and everybody's starting to go all organic, but they're not realizing that you're switching up everything that was put into your system when you were younger. Okay, so you go from having all these chemicals to having none of these chemicals, and you all of a sudden get told, look, like up here when you're pregnant, okay, they tell you you can't have sandwich meat, you can't have hot dogs, you can't have seafood, you can't have tuna, you can't have this, you can't have that. So you're taking all the nutrients, even though there is some bad mixed with that, you're taking all that stuff out of your diet. So then that means the baby is not getting that stuff. So then when they come out, they're not going to have a tolerance for that extra chemical.
You might be onto something there.
Well, you think about it. You take away all that stuff. If I stopped going into the sun, okay, my body's no longer getting vitamin D. I become pregnant. That baby's not getting vitamin D. So now they're going to tell me to take vitamin D drops. Okay. So now I've got to take those drops so I get it, so the baby gets it. When that baby comes out, they're going to have a vitamin D deficiency because they're still not getting enough. Okay. It works the same way. If I take peanuts out of my diet, then that baby that I'm carrying is no longer exposed to that kind of thing. So when you do give it to them, it causes an allergy because their system doesn't know how to break it down.
The human body is amazing, to be honest. I mean, the human body's adapted to many things, even environments.
I think that just like Jojo was saying, you can cure the body from anything naturally. Sugar wasn't introduced to us I don't know, till I don't want to get my math wrong, but late in the game.
But no, when it was, they were taking it straight. It wasn't refined. It wasn't processed. Everything's processed now. So now you got to adapt the body to all the process, all the chemicals, all the extra shit that they're putting into it. You have to put that into your system slowly. If you go crazy and like you have a peanut allergy, you go crazy eating a bunch of nuts because you want to get rid of this allergy, you're going to be sicker than a dog. In some cases, you may die. But there are studies that have shown people with a severe peanut allergy, you give them small doses over a certain amount of time, eventually that allergy goes away.
Yeah, I'm talking about more just being unhealthy for the human body.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar is not healthy for us.
Not the way that it's made, but I mean, if you
corn
get
syrup.
it from the cane, it's different. It's raw sugar. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Then you got corn syrup.
Yeah, corn syrup is this worse. Yeah, exactly.
The whole issue.
You can cure things like cancer, and this is another opinion of mine, not, true by any means, but I think that you can heal the body by taking care of the body and giving up, things that are bad for your body.
Mm-hmm.
And
Scaredy Cat says, look at the fluoride in our water and GMOs. But not to mention that if you're on city water, your water is coming from a waste treatment facility where they clean blackish water.
Yep.
From the sewer. Okay. Now, the purification process that the cities use to make this brackish water into clean drinking water again is not designed to filter out the chemicals that pass
Heavy
through
metals.
the human body, like your pills, your antidepressants, and things like that. So
Well, a lot of those are actually made out of heavy metals too, like librium and lithium.
yeah, so all this stuff is coming back to you in your drinking water, and people are drinking it. It's just like taking, your meds. I mean, you want your meds, just go to the tap and drink some water.
Well,
Hell, I told you about
problems.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
One of the big problems is, I was just talking to Conspiracy Camp in the chat, is the heavy metals. Aluminum is one of the biggest health risks that were, like, my city. The aluminum level is 1,000 times more than what it should be before the government steps in and takes action. We're actually getting warnings from the news on a weekly basis to not drink our water.
See, here, we actually, so we just got a pool, okay? And the testing kits you get. Well, we got curious and we tested our tap water, okay? So not the pool water, the tap water. The reading for pH levels on the tap water alone were 8.9. So they were actually off the scale. It's safe to even swim in. Forget about drinking. That's okay. Then the chlorine level, which we all know they dosed your water with high amounts of chlorine, because by the time it goes through the pipes and gets to your house, they're like, a lot of that is worn off. That's bull, because the chlorine level in our water, by the time it came out of our tap and into the glass, that chlorine reading was off the chart as well. It was at like 9.1.
Yeah, I'd rather no chlorine for my water, please.
Now, see, that's where we actually have an advantage, because, like, in these hills around here, there's a lot of natural springs, and all we have to do is go out there, dig into a hillside, set an old clawfoot tub out there, let it fill up, run a pipe out of it, and you got fresh spring water. And it tastes so good. Makes the best moonshine too. Let me tell you.
I gotta answer this. Lori and Fam, she says she only drinks bottled water. Well, I hate to tell you, that bottled water still has all that stuff in it too, just not in high amounts.
Well, all right, the bottle itself, if you leave bottled water out in the sun for more than an hour, you're supposed to throw it away.
Yep. Yeah.
There's
not even just the sun. If you leave it in your car, and you know how much a car heats up, it's the heat itself. If those bottles stay warm for too long, you have to throw them out, because the chemicals from the plastic leak into your water.
Yep.
That's why they tell you not to reuse a plastic bottle.
Now, here's the thing too, Joe. Remember, what was that movie I saw? Gasland. Basically, back in the United States, we had an issue where guys were actually drilling into the ground and actually were using gases and chemicals, and it was what was it called? Hydraulic fracking.
Fracking. That's really bad right now.
You know what? We're going to use that topic for next week, Lou. The fracking thing. We was going to talk about it this week, and it just now come up, and it's 12:30 now, so we're going to start winding it down. Probably close it out here in another 15, 20 minutes, but we'll save the fracking one for next week.
Well, if you're going to stay on for 15 minutes, that could be the last one.
Okay, well, we can do that then. Yeah. I mean, I'm in a large fracking area, and they're fracking. There's literally fracking wells around me within a mile, probably 3 of them right now in operation.
All right, but do you actually know what's wrong with fracking?
Well, what they're doing is they're drilling down into the shale rock, extracting the gases and liquids from inside the rock, and then replacing it with salt water.
All right. But what the problem with fracking is, I watched a bunch of stuff on fracking, and from the materials that I've watched, actually the wells that are built for fracking are actually substandard, and that they're actually, I think the percentage, I forget what word I'm looking for, but they're basically built to fail. So they're supposed to be made a certain way, and they make them, and then what happens is these wells end up cracking, and then that's what makes it seep into the water table, and that's what's, poisoning people's water and creating the problems. Now, I seen a guy who was an inspector for these wells saying that when they're built in the first place, they're not built to a standard that they should be built to be used for 40 years, 50 years. They're built
With
to
the
be
ones
used
around
for
here, Lou,
5 years.
the wells around here are literally portable. They'll go up overnight. They'll be in one area for 3 or 4 weeks. They'll shut that down and move to another area and start drilling in that area. They literally move the wells off of the place, move them around.
What my understanding was from the stuff that I watched was that the actual wells themselves were built to a substandard type of building, that they're literally like 90% of them fail within 5 years. So it's them failing. If they could come up with a way to frack without releasing all this stuff into our water tables, and that might be a little bit safer. Not saying that that's the answer, but at least start there, because that's what one of the biggest problems is. They even said the concrete isn't up to standard and ends up failing within months. Oh, I think I'd have to look it up, but it's some gross, crazy statistic that's like, really, they're really legally allowed to do this, and they are. And then if you look at fracking maps across the whole earth, where fracking is actually done, it's the whole earth. There's no spots left.
Okay, well, here's a conspiracy for you. You remember the movie Deep Horizon? Was the Horizon catastrophe? Okay, that happened with the oil rig.
Oh yes, the
that exploded, and they couldn't get the oil that kept spilling out into the ocean.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now it's a true statement. It's a true story. If they hadn't have been able to stop that oil from spewing out into the ocean like it was, there is an oil pocket that goes all the way up through the United States from that location, and it's so vast, it's like an ocean of oil. Okay, if that would have drained out, literally the ground would have sank and displaced all that oil, and all of the Gulf of Mexico, all the way up through the Mississippi River valleys, from say Georgia to it would have covered like 3 states. The ocean would have consumed a quarter of the United States.
We would have been in a shit ton of trouble, is what you mean.
Well, that is kind of the theory as to why at that time is when FEMA was getting all the caskets,
yep,
body bags. They were preparing for that tragedy. If they hadn't have been able to close that, we would have been seeing mass flooding coming in from the ocean. It would have been like a tsunami type situation, only it would be slow going. You'd literally, the ocean be a mile or 2 away from your house, and you wake up in the morning and it's a mile past your house, and you just drowned it in your sleep.
Well,
it was that serious.
If you think about also just the oil
when it was going on.
Just the oil, say, forget the tsunami, just the amount of oil going into the ocean would have poisoned so much of the ecosystem that so many billions of pounds of protein would be taken out of our ecosystem, and we would have been affected one way or the other.
Yeah. And that has a lot to do with the FEMA anticipating the fact and supposedly buying all those caskets and setting up like potential FEMA camps. That was all around that time that they joined partnership with Walmart and all that stuff. So now we're after the fact. The partnership is still there. They've still got all this stuff in place for a mass, martial law would have been ensued in that situation, because there would have been mandatory evacuations to FEMA camps. There would have been body recoveries. There would have been like all this stuff going on. But
Well,
they were able to cap that off and close it off and stop
look at New Orleans as an example of what happens in a state of emergency. When when the levees broke, martial law, you got people. If you're breaking into something, you might get shot. You had people in these camps. You had people starving. That was a small test of showing what a larger
and it failed miserably when they put all those people in the Superdome down there, and all of a sudden the bathroom facilities failed. The people wasn't getting meals or anything. Nothing was being brought in. It was bad. It was a major black eye for the government. For like FEMA and rescue services in that area. So it was really, really bad.
Here we had a power outage that lasted for 2 weeks. By the end of the 2 weeks, you couldn't buy food at the grocery store because there was literally nothing on the shelves. You couldn't buy gas because all the gas stations were run by electric. There was I think there was like 2 or 3 of them in the city that were old gas stations that you could still actually get gas at, but there was almost nowhere to get gas. Literally, my mom got Vienna sausages. Now, I've never eaten a Vienna sausage in my life, and I'm like, why'd you get Vienna sausages? And she's like, there's no more food. Like, all the shelves are empty. There's nothing. And it was a scary 2 weeks, man. It was, if they would have told us the lights aren't going on for 2 months, it would have been war in the streets. I couldn't even imagine 2 more weeks, because it was getting to be, people were getting shot over gas. People were getting, people were trampling people for food, and there was
price gouging going on down there for water. People was spending as much as $30 for a 12-pack of bottled water. 60, as much as $60 for a 12-pack of bottled water in areas. And that's if you could get it, if you could even find somebody that had it. The price gouging was outrageous. Gas prices, if you could find somebody that had gas.
What's crazy is I was a roofer when that happened, and we had gotten an offer to go down to Louisiana and tarp roofs for $2,000 a roof. Now, to tarp a roof is really easy. I can do it by myself in an hour. So you're talking about 1 hour's work for one person, and they're paying $2,000 a roof. They really messed up. Like, they let their resources get mixed up, and there was like construction crews down there, just like the water. They were price gouging for people to get their stuff fixed, or just normal jobs that would usually just be a couple $100, now in the thousands. It was crazy.
Well, and I worked for a guy who would, we didn't go down for that one, but they were going to go down to the Carolinas when that one hit last year. and they wanted me to go along. And they was like, we're just going to load up the trailer with as much materials as it can haul, and we're going to go down there and we're going to make some money. And I was like, okay, how long are we going down for? A couple weeks? Nope, 3 months. I was like, where the hell are we going to stay? Like, bring a tent. I was like, 3 months, away from home, away from the wife, away from the kids.
Was you thinking that they were going to sell the stuff slowly?
No, they thought they was going to like go down, come back out of that area, pick up more supplies, go back in, and, and get pick up jobs, just boarding places up and tarping roofs and, all that stuff when the hurricane hit. And, they went down there. They made some money. They made a shitload of money. But yeah, I just couldn't take time away from the family that long. If it had been like a couple weeks and then come back for a week and then go back down for a couple weeks or something like that, I probably would have done it. But in 3 months straight away down there, because I was kind of like the foreman for the crew, and I would have had to stay down there, keep everybody busy while somebody went back up and got more materials and things like that. But yeah, I said, I'll pass this time.
My phone is dead through this whole live stream. Sorry, chat.
Speaking of disasters, I mean, we always talk about, all right, are we gonna have war with Russia or China? Well, yeah, we could, but here's the thing, it's not the war that could kill us. It's actually what could actually happen if they shot a nuke. You know what it is? An EMP. An EMP can actually destroy your whole entire electrical grid on the whole country.
Yeah.
You know what? An EMP might mess you up, but there's a weapon called I believe it's called, don't quote me on this, but it's like Thor's hammer or something. It's a telephone pole sized rod of tungsten carbide steel, and they said within a half hour of picking a target, they can hit any target on the planet within a half hour and have more destruction than the bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima with zero fallout, which means it's a kinetic energy weapon. They shoot it from outer space from a satellite, and it's moving above 30,000 miles an hour.
This was the Cobra satellite that shot it down from G.I. Joe Annihilation, huh?
No, this is actually actual in-use weapon that was designed by a certain person.
Well, I'm saying they used the story in that movie, and they actually have it where they shoot the tungsten carbon rod down, and it takes out like London.
Well, now we're talking about predictive programming again.
Well, there you go.
I'm thinking the one like from Call of Duty Ghosts. Is that the one, Lou Rock, you're talking about?
Call of Duty, yeah.
I don't know. I just know that there's a weapon that can be shot from satellite. It's a tungsten carbide steel rod, like I said. It's a kinetic energy weapon. The kinetic energy from it hitting the earth will be devastating, like a nuclear bomb, but without any nuclear fallout. So we could blow up a country and move in the next day so it's more economical for us to use that weapon than a nuclear bomb anymore, because nuclear bomb is just dirty. We can't go and exploit the resources or rebuild the country if it's radiated 100,000 years or more, million, whatever it is.
Well, we are at 2 hours and 45 minutes in this. I think we'll go ahead and cut it off here for tonight. We've actually went over our usual 2 hours, but we had JoJo come up and she shared some insights on a few things there. And, we've pretty well dropped off a good little bit now. So, guys, if you guys don't know Warsaw Patriot, go over to his channel, check him out. He's got a lot of neat stuff over there. He definitely a political minded person. you might like some of the things he has to say. And hit that bar, ding that bell, drop a like on one of his videos, and leave him a comment so he can get back to you. Don't forget about Lou Rock, JoJo Walker Unplugged. I know JoJo's got a show tomorrow night. It's called Whacked Out Wednesdays, where we highlight stories from the internet. And you never know which stories are true or not until the end. So, and Lou Rock will be back on Monday night on his channel doing EVPs and chats.
Guys, also, if you haven't seen my last video, it's a banger.
It is. I love that video.
Go check it out.
Awesome.
I've got so many things that people have pointed out that they've found in that video. I'm predicting it's probably going to be one of my biggest videos because it's one of the craziest videos I've ever shot. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
And Dream Walking Angel says, I really enjoyed this tonight, Ghost Mafia and Lou Rock. And Dream, I did send you a link because I know that we had been talking about conspiracy theories as well before. And when we first mentioned about doing a live stream about conspiracies, I said that I was going to send you an invite. So maybe we can get Dream Walking Angel up here with us next week. And I know she's got some stuff to talk about. And possibly Serenity.
Actually, Alicia's got some stuff that she could tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget, too, about EVPs on Brian's channel with you and Brian this Thursday.
Is that on Brian's? No, that's on mine.
No, yours was last week.
Was it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I just checked your channel.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was. No, it was on Brian's last week because we didn't have any guests. We brought up Francis and.
Oh, that's right too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your thing's wrong because it's showing a week ago.
Yeah. Yeah. This week it's on my channel, and we got MudCon coming on.
Yes.
MudCon.
So MudCon will be there with us on Thursday. EVP's my channel Thursday night, and then Lady Swan on Saturday night this week. And I think she's going to invite Lou Rock back with his rock box and see what you guys can't get going on. And you had that thing in tune there the other night when you was on Lady Swan's channel, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the other piece there for that show.
Also, I will be putting up a video sometime tomorrow. I got a package from MudCon today. I'll be doing an unboxing video sometime tomorrow. And so I'll be watching for that. And yeah. So Warsaw, you got anything coming up you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm just trying to come up with some more ideas for some more wood engraving and stuff and like that. And yeah, just stay tuned to see some more videos coming up.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will be back next week and cover some more conspiracies. If you guys have any conspiracies for us, let us know what you want to hear about. We'll see if we can't find some more dirt on the tags on the mailbox situation and things like that. And
also, if you don't mind going out there and finding us your evidence on Dog Ham, please send us your videos of what you find out about this conspiracy of them putting domestic dogs inside of ham products.
Yes.
We will.
And if you send us your videos, we'll play them on the stream. We'll highlight them. We'll put them up there.
Yes, definitely. For sure.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Thanks to all my mods for dropping them links. Sharpshooter, the Mod God, Scaredy Cat, Christina and Sun Ghost Squad. Everybody that was here tonight, Conspiracy Camp, thanks for coming, brother. Mudcon was in there a little while ago. He said he had to head to bed. Said good night to everybody on the panel. Everybody else, thanks for coming. Thanks, Cab7 for the super chats and everybody that Dave the producer and West Haven, and I think I got everybody. Mudcon actually dropped some super chats too.
Dave the producer.
Yeah, Dave the producer. And thanks everybody for coming. We'll be back next week for more conspiracy theories
Doug Ham.
from our undisclosed location deep inside a World War II declassified military missile silo.
I'm coming to you live from a dog's butt.
I
right,
ask this: if you're in a missile silo, how the hell you getting internet?
It's hardwired.
Hardwired.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everybody.